Frictionless shopping. One more time, we have COVID to thank for yet another thing. It accelerated our need never to want to touch anybody again. And we have done all sorts of things to make retail and shopping of all kinds friction-free, contactless, whether it's home delivery, curbside. So we are so lucky today that Paul Gagnon is the VP at NPD, does a lot of retail analysis. They had just finished looking at frictionless shopping, and he'll share some of the results that they found. And then we'll be joined by our panel, who will each reinforce this message of how to transform the world of retail into more efficient, lower cost, better inventory, and all the additional benefits you'll see of frictionless, contactless shopping. So Paul, take it away.
Great, thanks very much.
Take it away with the clicker.
Gotta get my clicker, right, thank you. Well, I realize that we stand between you and happy hour, so we're not gonna, go too long, but I hope that you guys find a lot of value in this. As Robin was mentioning, we've seen a ton of change in how consumers are shopping over the past several years, and there's all kinds of great content or technology innovations that help enable consumers. I'm going to take you first through a little bit of the research that NPD does. So I'm the Vice President Industry Advisor for Technology at NPD. And my background is in the consumer electronics world. So I cover and look at all the different TVs and computers and monitors and all kinds of stuff like that. But I started my career selling tube TVs at a retailer, and I was the guy in the way of people wanting to buy something like a TV and then getting to take it home. And so much has changed since then, right? So what are we seeing at NPD that kind of give us some clues? First, I want to talk a little bit about what is frictionless shopping? So there's lots of things to think about when you think about what it means to have less friction. Finding products quickly, but also finding products that are the right product for each of us. Checking out quickly, or maybe not even checking out at all. Security. I think everybody in this day and age is very concerned to make sure that somebody else isn't using your money to go shopping. But also how to process those payments quickly, seamlessly, behind the scenes without you even having to notice. It's also about meeting the consumer where they are, right? It's not about forcing a consumer to go to your store if they want to purchase something. Help them purchase something from your store wherever they happen to be, right? Also about flexibility, and this is something that Robin just alluded to. During the pandemic, when we physically couldn't go into many stores to buy the products that we wanted to buy, retailers were forced to adapt to us. And we saw some weird acronyms crop up, things like BOPUS, or buy online, pick up in store, pick up curbside. Those are still things that people want. I still see those parking spots in front of a lot of major retailers. So clearly it was a behavior change that started during the pandemic and continues today. We do a lot of survey work. We do a lot of sales transaction data tracking. That's, NPD's core business is actually collecting those sales from consumers and researching it. Online sales grew 45% year over year in 2020, and another 15% in 2021. But just 4% this year so far. Still growing, so growing off of a very high growth base, but slowing down. If we look at this data, which comes from some of our restaurant tracking, we see that during those early months of the pandemic, we saw, of course, a huge surge in digital orders for food, right? People ordering online and either having it brought to them or picking it up curbside at a restaurant. That hasn't gone down. Again, another behavior change that started with the pandemic, but persists today. Online sales also grew from 44% of all the different categories that NPD tracks in 2019 to almost 60% in 2020. It hasn't dropped much since then. People still prefer to purchase their products online. And this data is specific to technology. We're at CES, so I got to talk about technology. This is just technology purchase. This is things like, TVs and notebook computers and mice and all VR glasses, all this stuff. People like shopping online now. But not all products have shifted online. If you look at certain different categories of products, things like video products, and something I'm very familiar with is TVs, people still like to go into a store and kick the tires, right? They like to be able to judge the picture quality. They want to make sure that the design looks okay. They want to make sure that it's not too big or it's not too small. There are certain categories of products where it is still important to go in and at least look at the product in a store. But we are starting to see some movement where people are more comfortable purchasing even very big things online as well. It's not just all the small things. And finally, social media, as we heard a little bit ago with the influencers session, is a big part of how people discover the products that they want to buy. Sometimes it's where they buy as well, right? So when we did our holiday survey just before the holiday season this year, we found that approximately 20% of all shoppers wanted to use social media to learn about the products they wanted to purchase. And that, as an information source, saw the largest year-over-year increase of all the different information sources. So clearly people are educating themselves as well using new channels, all in an effort to kind of reduce the friction when it comes to learning and purchasing the products that they want. So one final thing is, and it might be a little bit hard to read on this slide, is because of that social media usage, we're also seeing an increase in the amount of products, higher growth rate in sales of products direct to consumer, meaning connecting the brand directly with the consumer to make a sale. And that might mean that the brand helps discover the consumer, convinces them to buy the product, and it might get fulfilled by a retailer, but the brand is the one making that transaction happen. And that is seeing more growth than traditional retail for at least the last year and a half or so. So clearly some changes to the consumer. All right, just a brief intro of data from me to you. Next, I'm going to kind of introduce our panel here. And we've got three people who are deep in the weeds trying to help consumers find the products they want and make it easier to purchase. And I'm going to introduce each one of them, and then I'm going to ask them to give a little self-introduction. So first we have Val Vacante. We just heard from her in the end of the previous session. She's the Vice President of Solutions Innovation at DENTSU, uncovering cultural trends, driving what are some of the technologies and ways that companies can interact with their consumers, help consumers discover more about the products. Co-creator behind the DENTSU Next Space, something I'm also very interested in, Shop Next. And so, Val, I'll let you introduce yourself the rest of the way.
Okay.
Here's your clicker.
Thank you. Go ahead. Are we going down the line?
Huh? Go ahead, yeah.
Cool. Well, you did such a great job introing. I'll keep it fairly brief and just sort of jump into a video here that demonstrates our DENTSU Next Space. It's our co-creation with Microsoft and LinkedIn and head office space. So really bringing shopping and experiences to the metaverse and beyond. And Shop Next, our Shop Next retail innovations. Let's see.
Welcome to DENTSU Next Space. I'm Neva. I'll be your tour guide to take you through our latest experiences brought together by the teams at DENTSU, Microsoft, LinkedIn, and head office space. At DENTSU Next Space, teams can learn about reinventing retail experiences, amplifying assistance, rapidly prototype ideas, accelerate insights, immersive learning, the power of networking, and more. For the first time, in the DENTSU Next Space, visitors can log log in with LinkedIn, a professional community powered by more than 875 million members to grow their networks, connect with their communities, and engage their audiences. We know team collaboration is important in any business, and it's no different here in the DENTSU Metaversity. Thanks to the power of Microsoft, enabling our teams across the world to upskill and learn new crafts. Using Microsoft 365 products, text-to-speech, and forthcoming Microsoft Designer capabilities, we've built an immersive learning experience to power up new starter inductions, employee training, and more, enabling teams anywhere to gain new skills and competencies. This floor is currently dedicated to Microsoft Viva Insights, designed to help teams balance productivity and well-being in the workplace with data-driven, privacy-protected insights and recommendations. Over here, we have the Microsoft Retail Education Space, where retailers and brands can gather, learn and see demonstrations on the latest retail technologies featuring Microsoft Dynamics 365, Microsoft Cloud for Retail, and DENTSU's proprietary ShopNext retail innovations. Here at the ShopNext showroom, we can educate and inspire teams with hands-on demos of our ShopNext retail innovations, scan and know, and unbox it. Our Mukul Virtual Retail Lab features our latest retail innovations and explorations across e-commerce, media monetization, virtual shopping, and more. Imagine creating bespoke experiences for your customers, like this digital twin of a beauty bar. And because your brand is your destination, we have the ability to create experiences that integrate into your existing e-commerce website, customer profiles, and loyalty programs. Hey, let's check out the DENTSU Intelligence Center, our home of future-focused thought leadership, immersive insights, and design thinking workshops. Getting from place to place is easy on DENTSU Next Space. Now, let's take a look at the LinkedIn Lounge. The LinkedIn Lounge is a space where brands can connect through their professional LinkedIn identities to recruit, network, and engage with prospective buyers and customers. We also host industry-leading talks and thought leadership sessions on the main stage. One of my favorite spaces in the LinkedIn Lounge is the gamified networking area. Down here we've got the Ecosia Forest. Here, you can learn all about Ecosia, powered by Microsoft, the search engine that helps create a better planet with every search. Making the switch to Ecosia is the simplest way to plant trees and be climate active every day. Did you know, together with Microsoft Advertising, DENTSU have planted over 1.5 million trees across the globe. This is just a glimpse of what we've created so far together with Microsoft and LinkedIn. With endless possibilities from the future of Web3, the evolution of the metaverse, AI-amplified assistants, and accessible everyday tools brought together to inspire and excite brands about what's next, let's create the never before together.
So thank you all so much. We wanted to put the video together because we're doing so much in the retail space, and I know Paul's going to lead the conversation, but I'd love to turn it over to Deepak to go over what you all are doing at Wink.
Right, to Deepak. Yeah, so let me give you a quick introduction. Deepak, he's the CEO of Wink. Has built a lot of transformational products around NFC payments, neobanking, blockchain. But the most recent thing, which is really interesting, is using biometrics as a way of authenticating and securing, face, voice, device-type identification to help secure those payments and, again, reduce some of that friction in the transaction. So Deepak, why don't you take it from here?
Thank you, Paul. So usually, frictionless and security do not go together in a single sentence. Consumers frequently opt for less friction, and compromise security. We decided to challenge that paradigm and figure out a solution for retailers and service providers and financial institutions that would allow them to not only offer a frictionless experience that is device agnostic, that's omni-channel, and also provides the best-in-class security to eliminate all sorts of payments fraud and identity fraud and make the world a better place for everyone. So that's what we have brought to market with Wink, a fraud-free biometric payments technology that's completely device agnostic and uses face and voice recognition to identify the user and breeze him through check-in as well as check-out, irrespective of whether he is experiencing the retailer in their physical store or in their online experience, or even in some of the upcoming new channels like a connected home or a connected car. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos. The first one around retail. There's no...
Intended free store and eliminate the checkout lines. Ultimate and seamless shopping experience powered by Wink. Scanning the code at the store lets Wink and the merchant know that the user has checked in and a secure shopping session is opened.
Hello, Luke.
When Luke likes something, he scans the barcode. And the item is added to Luke's virtual cloud cart, powered by Wink. No need to carry anything around, just keep adding. Luke does not need to wait for anyone to know if the required item is in stock. Luke can select item options on his phone browser. When done, Luke begins the checkout process with Wink.
Hello, Wink. I'm ready to check out.
Wink has successfully authenticated you. Which payment method would you like to use?
I would like to pay with my purple Amex.
Thank you, Luke. Your Amex will be charged when the items are ready for you.
Wink platform securely sends all cart and payment data to merchant's payment provider. When the payment method is validated, merchant's dispatch team starts preparing Luke's order. Luke can continue shopping at other merchants. When the order is ready, Luke gets a notification and to choose his pickup preference.
Your order is ready for curbside pickup.
As an added advantage, if an item is out of stock at the store, it can be shipped to Luke's saved address from his Wink profile automatically. Wink delivers the ultimate shopping experience with the combination of convenience, speed, and secure checkout experience. The future of payment is just a wink away.
So if Luke were to go to the retailer's online store, the same experience can happen.
Hi, Stephanie. To verify it's you, please share promo code, shipping instructions, or repeat the text below. I want free shipping to my house. Thank you, Stephanie. We have successfully verified your Wink ID. Please confirm your order details. If everything is correct, click Pay Now, or say, this order is approved to complete your purchase. This order is approved.
And lastly, if you were shopping in your car,
Morning, Wink.
Good morning, James. It looks like your battery is low. Would you like to add a recharge station to your morning room?
Sure, that sounds good. Let's stop at one on the way to the conference center.
Please pull into station 3B. It's ready for you to recharge. When you are done, Wink will take care of payment. Your Visa card was charged $15 for your charging session.
Hey, Wink,
Hi, James.
let's find me a parking spot close to the conference center.
A parking spot has been reserved. Please proceed to the conference center. Success. Your Visa card was charged to your parking spot.
so as you can see, Wink powers biometric personalization, biometric identification, and biometric checkout just using your face. That's all you need. No wallets, no phones, no SMS OTPs, no passwords, just your face and voice. That's about it.
That's some pretty cool stuff.
Thank you.
Our last panelist here is Mukul Dhankhar. Mukul is the co-founder and CTO of Mashgin, the world's fastest self-checkout system, and brings more than 16 years of experience in computer vision and machine learning. And I have to add, Mukul, you're very brave to give an actual tech demo at a tech conference. There's nothing cooler than that, right? Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Mukul and I'm co-founder and CTO at Mashgin. So as Paul said, Mashgin builds the world's fastest self-checkout system powered by computer vision. And since we have one demo in front of you, let me show you how fast this thing actually works. So the kiosk has a few cameras at the top, and anything you put under the cameras, it can instantly identify. So to check out, all you do is place all your items at once, and they instantly ring up. You pay with your phone, and you're good to go within a few seconds. And since we are identifying items visually, we don't need barcodes, which means we can identify items such as a plate of spaghetti or a slice of pizza. So yeah, as you can see, this is pretty fast, and this is not just some proof of concept demo machine. We are actually live in more than 1,800 locations, including 1,000 convenience stores, stadiums, airports, ski resorts. I think we have a few 100,000 people use our kiosks every day, and the number is growing every day. So.
Great. It worked. Awesome. So with those introductions out of the way, I'm going to start some discussion, and I'll ask if anybody in the audience wants to ask a question, please raise your hand. I think we've got a microphone floating around here. We'll try to get to you. But, you know, as I think about frictionless shopping and self-checkout, you know, all of those things that, you know, definitely seem to make the consumer experience a little friendlier, a little bit less time spent in line maybe. One of the biggest challenges facing the retail industry at the moment is shrink, right? It's inventory control. It's, you know, how do you make sure that somebody's not, you know, taking 2 items and paying for 1? What are some ways that we can help, that these systems can help resolve that, or can maybe help, you know, minimize that? Jump in whenever you feel like.
Yeah, I can at least speak to how Mashgin handles it. So the thing we noticed is our device does not have any effect on the shrinkage. Like it doesn't go up or down once we put our device instead of a cashier. But there is one advantage, which is we do take pictures of every transaction. So if someone is trying to be sneaky and either they keep like a Pepsi bottle outside the surface and try to pretend that that's how the kiosk works. So we do take those pictures, and we can report those pictures to the retailers, and we have done that before. In a lot of situations, especially like in corporate cafeterias and stuff, the client just says, "Hey, we don't need to confront our users." Right. The shrinkage is built into the pricing model. It's like we know some people are going to steal, so be it.
Could somebody try to hide the pack of gum under the bag of chips or something?
Exactly like that, and from the pictures we can tell, people steal even when there's cashiers. Mm-hmm. So there's like a small percentage of people who do that. Most, by and large, everyone is just honest. So.
Well, and it's interesting because our product Scan and Know, we also have a contactless payment option. Mm-hmm. So Scan and Know is all about no more in store. So if you just want to find out the price, the ingredients, or if there's 1 item on the shelf, but you want 10, you can scan it, boom, and have it shipped to your door. But what we found on the contactless payment option, because there's oftentimes a person at the front just sort of monitoring, it actually deters theft. And then at the same point, when we talked with other retailers, they have that same kind of policy, like about not really approaching people. But we did find like having the person up front, you know, it is working as a deterrent.
You know, Val, one thing I was thinking about too with the Scan and Know system is, you know, a lot of the retailers that I work with sell very expensive things, right? And some are looking at ways of shrinking the number of products, particularly high value products that they keep on a shelf in the store, giving more of the store's footprint to warehouse and a smaller kind of showcase for the store itself, or, you know, maybe drastically shrinking it. Is Scan and Know a way that a retailer could help minimize the amount of kind of vulnerable inventory that they keep on the floor while still being able to offer consumers a way to learn about, you know, different color options or maybe different models or specs?
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, we actually saw more of that in our DENTSU Next Space virtual test lab. The same case came up there as it did as you're talking about in a retail store. And what I mean by that is, for example, there's a retailer we work with, can't say who, but in terms of the case, basically what happened was exactly that. There's limited shelf space. They're able to have one flavor in the store on their website. They carry all the multiple flavors. And so what we found in that case was a media opportunity in the store. So by simply talking about, you know, get more, have it shipped to your door, using Scan and Know, you can scan the item and have all the flavors that you love shipped to your door. It helps the store alleviate inventory and provides that kind of amplified assistance of getting the flavor you like.
Right. You know, one thing I think about as well, Deepak, with your technology is, you know, you're able to identify who's entering the store, right? I imagine that provides some level of deterrence in itself because there's a record of who's come in the store, right?
Absolutely. The whole concept of verifiable identity as well as accountable identity not only allows the retailer to personalize the experience for the customer, but also ensure that his preferences are known in advance. And if it is a unscrupulous customer, he knows that that he's being biometrically identified. So there's less likelihood of him either trying to walk out with an unpaid item or even using a stolen credit card. Right? That's also something that creates a different type of shrinkage. So that can also be eliminated using our technology.
Yeah, certainly credit card fraud is a friction I think none of us wants to deal with, right? Kind of pivoting a little bit and building off of what you just mentioned, you know, privacy is certainly a concern that consumers have, and a lot of these frictionless technologies rely on a lot of personal identification. Do you find that consumers are more or less accepting, or maybe there are different demographics that are more accepting of some of these technologies? And is there a way for somebody to know in advance if a particular store is using that and, you know, opt in or opt out?
If you've looked at some of the popular self-checkout retailers in the grocery vertical, cameras are on when you are putting your produce on the weigh scale, when you are trying to scan the item on that self-checkout machine. The camera is on. It's looking at not only the device and what's being placed, but it's also looking at you, your behavior. So I think consumers are seeing this in all wakes of life. You've seen that in, you know, with TSA pre-check, with Clear in the airports, now with boarding passes. You're seeing it in connected cars with driver monitoring cameras that are checking whether you are feeling drowsy or you're not paying attention. So it's now a walk of life that cameras are making things safer and more secure for use. So I think the consumers are getting more and more acceptable to that reality.
As I think about these really cool technologies, they seem expensive. What are some of the types of retailers that you, obviously, Mukul, you've already got customers, right, who are deploying this in stores. It's aimed predominantly at convenience. where do you think this goes next? Or what kinds of businesses, can a small business afford this? Are there ways of, making sure that this isn't just an exclusive domain of big box retailers or big chains?
So, I think like with economies of scale, the technology does get cheaper. But as of today, the reason why our clients pay us for the hardware and the service is because there's a clear positive ROI. So for example, in stadiums where, at quarter time or half time, there's just like this peak in demand, we put our kiosks and like the lines are either not there or like are much shorter, and the sales go up by 20 to, in some cases, 400%. So clearly, like, the ROI is there for
Just because there's more
business.
throughput, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's for like the larger customers, right? Like talking about mid to small scale, I think maybe in the next few years it should be accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
There's, what I will say with our product, with Scan and Know in particular, it integrates into a retailer's existing website, customer profile, and loyalty program. And similarly, with our DENTSU Next Space, it's the same thing. We can sort of extend a retailer's existing website to create a virtual showroom. And so the retailer owns all of the data. It is fairly lightweight depending on the scope in terms of the virtual showrooms. But yeah, it's basically, it integrates right in. And then additionally, with our product Unbox It, which is all about that upon arrival experience, we can work with a small medium business and do it very lightweight from a design perspective to full-on product. So it really, we tried to design all of these products in a way where there's kind of a light, medium, and heavyweight option, because for us, from a design perspective, we want to provide more accessibility, to more brands, more people, more consumers to engage.
For Scan and Know, are you taking a picture of the product itself or like a QR code on a fact tag?
Oh, for Scan and Know, because it integrates into a retailer's existing website and stock, you just scan the barcode.
Just the barcode.
So you don't even need to there's no
extra
additional
work to go in
stickers
there.
or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and for our technology, retailers that are really focused on omni-channel, those are the ones that are really wanting to take advantage of biometrics to identify the same user as they move from online to the store to maybe a curbside pickup behavior. Because in today's world, you may have a preferred rewards customer shopping online, but when that customer walks into your store, there is a lot of friction for the customer to prove that he's a preferred rewards member. He has to take out some sort of a loyalty card,
a phone number,
or he has to enter a phone number, or he has to scan a QR code. So in order to eliminate that friction, biometric is really a very fast way to immediately check in the customer as they walk into the store. And also for curbside pickup, to be able to identify that the person has arrived and is already paid for it, and his product's ready for pickup or delivery.
Yeah, great. Any questions in the audience? I see one hand back there. Do we have a microphone that can get back there, or maybe you just have to yell really loud? Okay.
Wait, Steve.
We do have a microphone. Great.
Okay, thank you. Hello? Yep. All right, again, my name is Steve. Thank you very much for the talk. Really insightful stuff. My question actually has to do with a little bit of the big guy, right? Amazon Go specifically. And if you don't mind, I'll ask two questions because they're kind of related to each other. My first question about Amazon Go and how it gets involved into the friction space is, what do you think is the number one problem that Amazon Go is addressing? And the second question follow-up is, do you think other retailers will adopt Amazon Go into their checkout experience?
So I can go for it.
Yeah, go for it, Mukul.
So Amazon Go, it's basically like the room scale, people tracking technology compared to like our kiosk, which is kind of like Amazon Go in a box. The problem with Amazon Go is, even though it's trying to solve the same thing, like no checkout lines, frictionless experience, the problem is that it's to retrofit a new store, it's actually very expensive. You have to put cameras all over the ceiling. In Amazon's case, they put shelf sensors on every single shelf. So you have to kind of rip apart your store, and that's not easy to do for an existing store.
I'm sorry, if I may interrupt this, the question, I think it was, maybe I said it wrong, was what do you think is the problem that Amazon Go is addressing? So not so much about like what problems are with Amazon Go, but rather what, why make Amazon Go? Why make Amazon Go at all? Sorry, thank you.
In the end, I think the problem they're addressing is people have to wait long time in a line, and that's not a good experience as a shopper. And if there's no lines, you just walk out very quickly from a store. It's just a better experience, and that's what they're trying to solve.
I'm going to chime in on Steve's point. Amazon Go stores are closing in my neighborhood, which is Manhattan, which was a shock to me because I thought it was a no-brainer. I don't know what's happening in San Francisco, if anybody knows and wants to say anything. And I'm not sure, I think maybe they kept the wrong stuff in the store was part of the problem, but any other thoughts?
It's a technology showcase. I'm not sure they are solving any real problem. It's a technology showcase showing the power of technology to eliminate the labor shortage, to eliminate the checkout lines, and sort of showing how you could implement a complete frictionless checkout experience without anyone in the store, right? So whether or not that scales to every retailer around the world, that's the question. I think that was your second part of the question, which is, I believe, what Mukul answered, and I concur, that for any retailer to retrofit their store with that type of technology, it's a huge barrier. It's probably only possible with the very high tier 1 potential retailers.
And I would like to add to that, because when we were developing our Scan and Know product, we were often given the same question, right? And I do think, I think it's like, hey, these Amazon Go stores came out, they were a little bit of magic, right? Nobody really did that, but same as you guys, that was the feeling I had. I'm like, we're putting a lot of hardware into the stores, we're putting a lot of sensors, and there was a report I read, and it was roughly, I think, near to $1 million. And everybody in this room, because otherwise you wouldn't be at CES, right, knows that how fast technology moves. And everyday retailers cannot afford to refit every X amount of years. And so Robin, as you said, those stores are just closing.
I remember when RFID was going to be the solution, and everything was going to have an RFID tag, and it came in the back door and it was scanned and went out the front door and was scanning it. That's not seeming to happen anymore, right? So that's technology progressing.
Amazon HandPay, on the other hand, has got potential, given that they are solving the fraud issues on the checkout experience, and they are solving for the future when you may not actually have the phone on you. You may leave it in your car, or it may be decentralized and you might just be carrying your AirPods and your Apple Watch, and you don't really need a phone. So that definitely has future potential, which is something similar to what we are building. In our case, it's more hands-free. You don't even need your hand.
Yeah, thank you very much for that insight.
Great. I think we have time for maybe one more question down here in front, Robin. And then we'll get you guys to your happy hours.
Great. It's just getting heated up.
Thank you. What's the human impact of these technologies? Are you finding that eliminating people essentially at checkout is that's where the frictionless moment is happening in the store, or is it also reducing the workforce? It seemed like with Wink, it was very much you don't need RSAs there. Is there like what? Yeah, I'd just be curious how that's
Yeah,
impacting.
I'll jump in on that because as we were developing the product, I mean, part of our process is being in the store, being with consumers, but also seeing how it impacts the store associates as well. Like, we don't want to give the store associates like more work, right? And so I think it's really important to see. Excuse me. I think it's really important when you think about frictionless experiences. It's not just about the checkout, right? So like the example I shared earlier, like, oh man, there's only, like there's a medium, but like I need a small, and those kind of things. And we designed in Scan and Know that actually came from a case with my son. He has sensitivity to certain fabrics. We found one. They didn't have it in his size, and this was at a big box retailer, and they had to find someone with like a device to look it up, to go to some other store, and they said, it was like this stuff, and I'm like, we can totally like solve that problem with Scan and Know, and so that's what we did. And so I think it's alleviating lines, and how we talk about it is amplified assistance. So whether that's store clerk, quantity, pricing, ingredients, all of those things people are looking for.
I think we see this as something similar where like once you replace the cashier, it's not so much you are trying to cut the labor, but the labor redistributes to other functions, like restocking shelves or greeting customers and stuff. Most of the retailers, especially after pandemic, the great resignation, there's like some big retailers we work with, like Circle K, they have like 22,000 open positions for cashiers and that they cannot fill. So it's actually kind of a reverse problem than replacing people.
It's about efficiency, right?
Yes.
In certain countries, carrying cash, plastic, and phone is unsafe. Right? So to be able to provide a safe environment where no one can clone you or pretend to be you and get into your account and use your money, I mean that's a very positive human impact of this technology.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're out of time, so can everybody please thank our panelists for this great session? Thank you guys very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of CES.